town center, police, fire, library, elder housing, schools, etc. The total projected cost of this is a $40 million project. The majority of these costs to be borne by those residential and commercial properties being bettered. Those people who will receive sewerage treatment will be paying for this, and the town will pay a small portion of that. Why are we doing this now? Well, we've been doing this for 6.5 years, so we want to roll this car out of the pits onto the track and get everybody's thoughts on it and debate this before town meeting and our outreach groups. We've missed opportunities with the South Essex Sewage District over 25, 30 years ago. We missed opportunities with MWRA. There's a high rate of failures for those of you that are not familiar with commercial properties along Route 28. A number of those commercial properties want to grow and develop and add more tenants to their property and expand. That, in effect, will increase the commercial tax base in the town and, in effect, give us some relief. Not tomorrow, but some years down the road. The town also has needs. If we replace the middle school or the high school, upgrade those systems will have to be replaced or upgraded. Most likely new ones will have to be put in, and this provides a near permanent solution for that. Work is underway. The Berry property, as you know, there's about several, I guess over 1,000 residents there are going to be renting apartments in the very near future. And by virtue of that property and the 40R that came about, the town received $750,000 targeted towards wastewater treatment, and with $750,000 more to come. And we've already put that money to good use. That's piping there in the upper corner that's already in the ground to help support this system. So work is underway. Quite frankly, if you build it, they will come. If we had the sewerage treatment now along 28, a lot of those properties would hook up tomorrow. Wastewater construction costs continue to rise, so if you do it now, you can save some costs. I think as Nick O'Brien will tell you in a moment, I think South Essex was about $1.5 million 30 years ago, so $40 million is probably the price of inflation. Go back here. Oops. Previous. How will we benefit? Improved tax base, some tax relief because of the development of commercial properties. Protect drinking water aquifers. Protect surface waters and wetlands, particularly around Martin's Pond. Allow for planned economic development. And that's key, planned, as opposed to unplanned. End frequent septic pumping. Reduce the number of unsightly mound systems. There was a photo there a few moments ago showing a mound system not too far from my home on Elm Street. If you're putting in a new system along the Ipswich River now, you're most likely going to have a mounded system. And prevent bad PR with regard to wastewater. The work continues. We'll work with the Berry site developers. We're negotiating to acquire land from New England Power for the collection and treatment system. Negotiate with the U.S. Postal Service, who wants to really become part of our system, and seek additional groundwater discharge sites. This is just the first system of a number we would hope to propose. Continue public outreach in the weeks and months to come, and be back before town meeting this year to present this project in great detail. And time for action. I'd like to introduce my colleague on the board, town sage, and also former selectman Nick O'Brien, who wants to add a few words closing to my comments. And I thank you for your time tonight.
Wow, I'm on the marquee even. Also, I never expected such a crowd. This is very encouraging. It shows an appreciation for town meeting and the ability for you people to... Can I be heard back there? Glad to hear that too. But once again, we appreciate the showing of all you people at this particular meeting. I hope that I can contribute some way and give you some feelings about this. Be aware, my name is up front too, be aware that we had a meeting recently to set this all up, and I was unanimously volunteered to make this particular pitch. And our pitch is to show why, and I guess that's why they have me up here, as Nick O'Brien wonders. I'm wondering why, I guess, we can't act on this now. Not necessarily get the construction started, but to act on it. Our charge to town meeting by the selectmen is to come back and give you a report that would be well thought out, a doable plan that would work for this project. And that is my concern tonight, to let you know. You'll probably hear me say now quite often, but that's what we're looking for, some kind of action now. Our committee has worked for 6 years diligently, and our charge, as I just indicated, was to come back and present town meeting with our recommendations and have a full discussion on the issue as an agenda item. Until we get on the agenda, no questions asked, no answers given, because we're not authorized to do that without an agenda item. So this is just a report tonight. We have analyzed, vocalized, pressurized, vulcanized, every eyes there is, and we think that we're ready to go. We want the opportunity to come before town meeting and make our discussion and concerns known. Can we talk? Sure we can. As Mr. Hunt pointed out, we're doing outreach. We're looking for people to invite us into groups so that we can discuss this before it comes to town meeting. And we have indeed set up possible outreach discussions with people in the business community, citizens group, anybody, any group, large or small, anybody who wants to hear us make a pitch before the town meeting agenda. So I'm asking you to please give us a call. Mark Hall at Town Hall. We'd be glad to receive your call and set up any kind of a meeting, large or small group. Allow me to refer to my notes. I'm so passionate about this, and I was told by my group I would be passionate. I am indeed passionate about this. I think action should be taken, not necessarily, as I say, the actual digging, but we should get started, and I think Mr. Hunt discussed some of that meaning. So if I refer to my notes, it's only because I have to, and I don't want to get off on a tangent here, which I could very easily. I say it's time to do this project. I've said it a few times. I do have the feeling that someday, from my environmental concerns, that we will be actually forced into providing a sewerage system for the town of North Reading. So I think it's time we act now. There's that word again, now. And we better do this for other reasons stated by Mr. Hunt before we get it shoved down our throats. We have an element of control right now that we can handle this. The price will never go down on it, as was indicated. About 30 plus years ago, we had the option and the opportunity to get on with South Essex Sewer District. Regrettably, we didn't do it. The price at that time, as I say, 1.3. We're 40 times that price now. This project is projected to be about $40 million. That's a lot of scratch. And what's going to happen? We don't act on it, it's going to increase. Call that whatever you want, inflation, whatever. We best do something now. Get the discussion started, something, now again. We had a meeting in November of '07, and our Director of Public Works, Dave Hanlon, said something that's very important, and I'm going to quote that. Now, this was back in November at one of our meetings. Dave said, and I quote, "Sewerage would allow the town to expand its commercial and industrial infrastructure to allow for additional tax money. They cannot," they being those seeking it out, "expand without this project. Some examples." End quote, by the way. The postal facility, looking for something to be done. Walmart, the Berry property, and especially the business community along Route 28. I can personally attest to problems on 28 if we had sewage on that particular road, where properties would be improved, The values would improve dramatically. 3, 4 business right now, myself included. I want to get that derelict off the highway anyhow. But we should allow this to happen so that we can get the increase in the value of these properties. But I mentioned that people have been seeking out property for businesses, and the first thing they hear, we don't have sewage. Water fatona, forget it. They walk away, not a chance. The community planning official has had that same problem. People approaching them, wanting to do projects in North Reading. Couldn't happen. No sewage.
Mr.
Mr.
O'Brien, I'm sorry, but...
I'm about to.
Yeah, okay.
I'll do. Thank you. Mr. Hunt pointed out some of the things already in place, such as the wastewater disposal sites that have been identified, mains installed on Route 62, land acquisitions that we're seeking out for backup. And we do want to complete our charge to town meeting. Then we can end our function as a committee. It's been 6+ years, and it's about time we made our report and did the discussion on it. Somewhat in conclusion, I'm sure that most of you people think we're out of our minds coming here and making this suggestion. $40 million, forget it. It ain't going to happen. But I'm thinking that before there's water running in these pipes, I'll be a guest in the front room of Croswell before that water does run. For that reason, I think we should get it started. And if I may say so, do it for me. I'd like to see it. Gotta happen. You can't get rid of me yet. Be advised, we will be back. Thank you very much. And thanks for the crowd.
If I could have everyone in the hall who has an empty seat beside them, please put their hand up. If those that are in the back of the hall looking for a seat, if you could come on down, we got a bunch of empty seats. There's five down in the front. If you could put your hand up if you have an empty seat so the people coming in the hall can see where they can go. To my right, there's 5 seats right down in the front next to the Community Planning Commission. There's some seats in the center section here in the second row. They'll keep coming in. Mr. Witz?
Yes.
You're packed to capacity?
Probably have a few empty seats, maybe 3 or 4.
Okay. Do you still have folks standing?
No, there's nobody standing.
Okay. And there are still empty seats in the main hall, so I'm not going to open the gymnasium yet. We'll go to the next report, which would be the Recycling Committee, Mr. McGrath.